What's up guys, my name is ESO and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be talking about The Elder Scrolls 6. Obviously nothing was revealed at E3 about it, most of us knew that this would be the case. But when is it coming out and how long will we have to wait? We can take a look at a few interviews to figure out where Bethesda are on The Elder Scrolls 6. In an interview at E3 2017, Pete Hines was quoted saying, "I tried to manage the expectations for folks, but Bethesda has major things they're working on, in addition to a lot of other stuff. They're hard at work and they've got a lot going on," he says. "Until one of these two projects reach a stage when they can be talked about, then we'll get to The Elder Scrolls 6. He later clarifies that The Elder Scrolls 6 is not in development while we work on the other titles, just in case you had any doubt in your mind. So at this point, you're probably wondering, where does that leave us? So now I'm going to try and explain how the game industry works and what kind of time, what date we're going to see The Elder Scrolls 6 released. But before we get into that guys, let me just remind you of this quote from E3 2016 from Todd Howard. "We think very long term. We're not a developer that's going to rush something like this out. When you think about the future of that kind of game, we have a pretty good idea of what that's going to be. And it's just going to take technology and time that we don't necessarily have right now." That gets me excited. At this point though, you're probably wondering what the other two titles are and why are they so big that they affect the Elder Scrolls 6 release. Well, we know one of them is going to be Starfield, which is kind of like an RPG based in space, with supposedly some connections to Fallout and Elder Scrolls games. Don't know if I like that, but that's kind of the rumours floating around right now. We all expected Starfield to actually be announced at this year's E3, but because it wasn't, it's actually more likely that we'll see Starfield next year. We know that both of these games are going to be big multi-platform titles though, so expect a big release in the coming few years. It also seems that yes, while Bethesda are working on these other projects, that if they were to release The Elder Scrolls 6, it would probably have a negative impact on other titles, like The Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind, or the repeated Skyrim re-releases. I mean, come on, we had Skyrim and all its DLC, and then we had Skyrim Game of the Year Edition, which is to be expected. Then we got Skyrim Special Edition, which upped the graphics a bit. Then we got Skyrim Virtual Reality, and now we've got Skyrim on the Nintendo Switch. And now we've got Skyrim and Fallout Creation Club, where community mod authors can create curated, tested mods for Skyrim that are developed in collaboration with Bethesda. But you'll have to buy and pay for these mods, kind of like you would extra downloadable content. The kind of content you can expect are weapons, armor mods, and also houses, and hopefully some big new location mods. Fingers crossed. At its heart though, it's basically microtransactions within Skyrim and Fallout games. As well as making a lot of money, it's going to increase the longevity of Skyrim even further, especially with console players. I don't like to say negative things about Bethesda because I do love them as a company, but they are definitely milking the hell out of Skyrim, man. I was happy Skyrim Special Edition came out, you know, they're still great games, but they're definitely milking them because they know they're good and they know that you want to buy them. But going back to the Elder Scrolls Online though, while I don't personally consider ESO an Elder Scrolls game at heart, I think it's more of a good MMO with an Elder Scrolls paint job. Well, the game is actually doing remarkably well, and it's bringing home a lot of money when compared to any boxed copies or DLC packs that are currently still flying around. MMOs just naturally generate a lot more money through microtransactions and constant updates and subscription-based fees and stuff like that. I mean, just look at Grand Theft Auto 5. It's kind of in the exact same position that Skyrim's in, because Grand Theft Auto 5 had the GTA Online release, and that also uses microtransactions to make money, a bit like the Elder Scrolls Online, and GTA 5 Online is making ridiculously huge profits, and because of that, it's lessening the importance of when we'll see GTA 6. It's the exact same story for the Elder Scrolls 6. I think we're in a new business model of gaming now. Season passes are becoming less prevalent, and now it's about longevity and microtransactions within the game. That's where the money is. I think we saw Ubisoft try to do it with For Honor quite recently. Microtransactions within a game that you buy. Personally, I don't think it's very consumer friendly, but at least the way Bethesda are doing it with their Creation Club, a lot of people want more high quality mods, so maybe that can be a good thing, but we'll have to wait and see. Pete Hines, though, has also said that he knows Bethesda's plans 10 years in advance, because obviously these big companies like Bethesda plan really far ahead. So whether or not the Elder Scrolls 6 is in development right now, that doesn't mean that it's not being discussed. So it does sound like Bethesda have plans for the Elder Scrolls 6. But as Todd Howard said in 2016, it sounds like the technology doesn't quite exist in order to achieve that right now. I do feel that in some ways, these games that released before the Elder Scrolls 6, like Starfield, which is also an RPG with potentially Elder Scrolls and Fallout elements, will be somewhat of an insight in what we're going to see, what's going to come in the future. As for when I think the Elder Scrolls 6 will actually be released, if you guys remember my video on the memo that was leaked from Bethesda back in 2014, which revealed something called Project Greenheart, and it also predicted Nuka World before anybody on the internet had even heard of it, which kind of confirms to me that it was probably quite a legit piece of information. But I made a video on that a while ago, and I'll link it down below in the description because I think it's still relevant today. But that memo basically indicated that the Elder Scrolls 6 would be in Valenwood. Now things can change in a few years, but I still think that's the most prevalent piece of information we have on where the Elder Scrolls 6 may be based. And back then when I did that video, I estimated the game would come out in 2020, despite everyone else thinking it would be earlier. Now, however, I'm thinking it will be out in 2023. Bethesda are renowned for following a 3-year development cycle of Fallout and Skyrim over the years, so you can expect it to be, 2023 or 2026 and so on. But I think it's going to be 2023. It is sad to think that it will be 12 years since the last one, since Skyrim came out, man, back in 2011. I still remember skipping my high school A-level exam revision for literally a week to play it. But anyway guys, we'll wait and see. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe and hit the little bell icon next to the subscription button to stay up to date and notified with what's going on. And also guys, I just want to say thanks again for all the support you guys are giving me on Patreon. It literally means the world to me. It means I get to carry on doing this job because the last few months have been quite rough on YouTube. So I just want to say thanks for that guys. Really appreciate it.